Hi, my name is Dhananjay Kumar and welcome to Windows 8 Metro App Development Series. In today's video, we are going to see that how we can work with Expression Blend and how Microsoft Expression Blend can be useful to design pages of Metro App created using HTML and JavaScript. In latter part of this video, we'll look into some of the controls like date picker. Before we go ahead and start working with Microsoft Expression Blend, to some of you who are not coming from Microsoft technology background, let me give you a brief idea of what is Microsoft Expression Blend. In one line, you can say that Expression Blend is a product of designer. Microsoft Expression Blend have been very heavily used by YAML designers to make their app more immersive. Uh, it is mainly the product which is used by YAML designers, and you can design YAML and make application more immersive using Expression Blend. As you can read out the bullet point on your screen that it is used to design pages in YAML. It is heavily used by YAML designers. It comes as a separate product. And now this point is very important that if you buy a license of Visual Studio, you don't get a license of Microsoft Expression Blend. You need to buy it as a separate license. Now in Visual Studio 2012, it is a blend for Visual Studio has been introduced, and that supports HTML and CSS designing as well. Now Expression Blend is not only for the YAML designer. Even if you are a HTML and CSS designer, you can very much use it to make your Metro app more immersive. Now it would be very heavily used by the designers to make the application which is created using Windows 8, which is creating for Windows 8 using HTML and JavaScript, will be using Microsoft Expression Blend. Now let us start creating a project using Blend for Visual Studio. For that, go to Start Screen and search for Blend for Visual Studio, and here you see Blend is opening. Now it is asking us to create a new project or open an existing project. Let us select new project, and here you can see that when you selected new project, you got two options: whether you want to create using HTML or you want to create using YAML. Let us choose HTML, and again here you got all the projects template. If you remember from a previous video, we explored all these project template. Let us go ahead and select blank app, and here you can browse that to where you want to save the project. I'm saving it on the desktop and codes, and just click open. Here you can see that language is JavaScript, version is 8, browse. You can change the name of the application if you want, and just press OK. And here it is creating the project, Metro application project with blank project template in Expression Blend. Maximize it and it goes here. This is Expression Blend, or we call it Blend for Visual Studio for you. Here you can see this is a working area. You got default.html open here. You got default.css open here. This particular area is called live DOM area, and here you can see HTML head and body. In the head you have all the title, references, script, etc. what you have added on the page. This side you can see this is called the property tab. Here you have the HTML attributes and CSS properties for a particular element which you have selected from the live DOM. In the top you have the project template. Here all the exactly like Visual Studio. The project structure you can see. Then you have assets. Here you can choose the assets which are coming from WinJS, like you can see app bar command, etc., and add it to your application. You have a device. Here you can see that how you want to view the device, like display, show Chrome, override rating, and where you want to deploy the target. You can set it here. Let it be to the local machine. And here different kind of view are available which you can select, like portrait, like snapped, field, or landscape, to run and test your application. Now let us go ahead and add some grid on the body. Select the body here, go to here assets, and select and search for grid. Here you can see that there are three types of grid available: grid 2:2, and grid 3:3. If you hover over that, you can see that it is giving you information that a 3 columns by 3 row grid. It is giving information a 2 column by 2 row grid, and it is giving information the grid provides a specifically styled grid using image grid class. So let us go ahead and add a grid first. And here we have added a grid. Inside that, let us add one more grid. Go and add a grid 2:2 grid. Now just put some number here to see 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just putting some content in the grid, and go ahead and run it. To run it, press F5. Again, to remind you that if you go to device, here you can change the deploy target, whether you want to run it to simulator or local machine, or you want to run it as a landscape or field or snapped or a portrait view. I am choosing these two options of local machine and landscape mode and running it. Just press F5 to run. And here you see that we have run our application directly from Expression Blend, and 1, 2, 3, 4 is visible here in different rows and columns. Now let us open this project in Visual Studio and try to understand some of the code being generated by Blend. To open the project, go to Project tab here, and you got default.html. Here right click and say Edit in Visual Studio. It is opening the same project which is open in Blend in Visual Studio. Here you can see that whatever we added there, like first we added a grid. So here a div has been added with class image grid. So there are some CSS styling which comes by default, which you can use as it is. After that, we added image grid 2:2 and put some number 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us change it to 1, 1, 2, 2, just to have understand when we run it that the project which is open in Blend and open in Visual Studio is in sync. In top, if you notice that since we are using class image grid and image grid 2:2, so Blend has added references for those CSS in the top. So let us go ahead and run it from the Visual Studio now to see how it works. So here you see that the same project which is open in Visual Studio and Blend is in the sync, and at the same time you can work from both the product. Your development team can work on default.js file writing the scripts, and your styling team, your designing team can work on default.html in Expression Blend and can making your application more immersive. Now let us go back to Blend, and you can see that the changes which we have done here is reflected here. Now in one of the div, let us select that div and put a date picker control. So if you want to put any control inside that div, so you need to select that parent element first. That should be selected, and then go ahead and choose the element which you want to be part of that element. So go here and let us say we want date picker. Just double click that. You see that that date picker is now part of here the fourth div, the fourth rows and fourth column. Again do Control S and come back to Visual Studio Here Visual Studio is asking you that the changes which you have done in Blend, do you want to reload that? Say yes to all. And here you can see that in that in the fourth div a date picker control has been added. Now what is the structure of this control? It is a div, and explicitly you are saying with the properties data win control that this is a winjs.ui.datePicker. So if you want to make any control and work with any WinJS control, you need to have a div, and you set the property data dash win dash control equal to name of that control. Like in this case, it is winjs.ui.datePicker. It can be anything like winjs.ui that message box. Now go ahead and run it. Here you see that datePicker control has been added here. And it is working fine. Let us go ahead and just close this application, stop running that, and see that what are the references it being added here. It has added base.js, ui.js, and then for the grid 2 we have grid 2 is to 2.cs and grid.cs. Now go to default.js and examine the code. Here you see that args.setPromise you have winjs.ui.processAll. Now let us do an experiment and comment this line of code and again try to run the application. Here you see that datePicker is not visible. We noticed here that if we commented a line winjs.ui.processAll, this line, the control winjs control does not render on the page. So to work with all the winjs control, you need to call winjs.ui.processAll function. Go ahead and comment this and again run it. We have that datePicker control. So any control need to be processed by calling this function before we use it in the application. Now let us do some styling of datePicker control which we have added here, div data win control winjs.ui.datePicker in Blend. Here go in the live DOM and select the datePicker control, and here in the HTML attribute you can see that you can set date pattern, you can say maximum year, you can say minimum year. So let us go ahead and set the minimum year to 200 and save it and come back to Visual Studio. It will ask us to load it. Let us run it from here only. So I have changed the maximum year to 2012 and minimum year to 200, and here you can see that minimum year is up to 200 only. So now your calendar is showing year from 200 to 2112. Here the maximum year we have 2112 and minimum year to 2000. So in this way you can apply the designs, and here in the HTML you can see that data win options has been added as minimum year 2000, and you can apply the rules on the WinJS controls using Blend as well. So now I summarize today's video that in this video we have learned that how we can start working with Blend for Visual Studio, how we can use WinJS controls, and how we can apply properties on those WinJS controls using Blend for Visual Studio. In further videos we'll go control by control and see that how we can work with those controls like message box, flyout, app bar, etc. in Visual Studio and in Blend. I hope you find this video useful and exciting to see you in next video. Thank you.